Good morning, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut here with Mike Kelly, Real Estate Jerky Daily.
And he made me laugh.
Hey, it sounds like a deeper voice today. I must have a sinus thing going on.
You got a frog.
No, it's like, warm, cold, warm, cold. Oh, next weekend, it was supposed to be 85 on Saturday. Now it's only going to be 64.
What?
Yeah.
I was looking at
as
it
long
last
as there's
night.
as long as there's no rain, I don't care.
Well, I was looking at it last night, and I think on Tuesday it started to go into the 80s, and it was going to be that way the rest of the week. And you're saying it's changing
65
again already?
It says 65 and cloudy.
Oh, I'm ready for summer. Of course, you know me. I like summer year round.
Well, this Saturday is today's going to be 66, Saturday 63, Sunday 65, 75, 81, 84, 83, Friday 77, Saturday 65. That's how you get this sinus thing going on.
Yeah.
All right, why don't you do your numbers
during the week? Oh, the numbers.
I always go first, so you can go first.
Here we go. Look at that. Whoa, there's the numbers. Hey, week ending April 19th.
Looks like the
it
same
looks
thing
like
as last
we did
week.
on Monday, or Tuesday. 532 closed sales per day for the state of California and 554 pending sales per day. The listings are up a tick, 720 new listings per day, week ending April 19th. And look, people are involved. You can see close to sale, 24.6% of the realtors worked. 13.8%, that's down a little bit, went into escrow, but you can see at 554, it's not bad.
No, there is a definite somewhat of a slowing out there right now.
Yeah, but there is an uptick on the listings. Well,
it's all about closings.
It is. You don't want to just list. You want to close. You want your clients to be happy. You want it to be smooth and successful.
Well, some people list properties and then never want to sell it. We'll keep going.
I remember during a marketing
I heard you last
meeting
night.
one day. Did I say it last night?
No, you were talking about the appointment you went on. Finish this so we can talk.
Oh, no. I was thinking about a buddy of mine, George Stout, no longer with us. Great guy. Talk about a deep voice. George had a super deep voice, and he talked about a new listing he had, and he mentioned the list price, and I said, boy, it sounds like you want to keep that listing for a while. And he's like, shut up, Mike. So what do you got?
I got a little bit of news. We don't have much today because it's there's no economic news today, but they're going to talk about a little bit about next week. Dow is down 228, which is not bad. I mean, it could have been worse. It's not a bad deal. I mean, I'd much rather have it down a little bit than down 900 points like it's been.
Yeah, we had such big gains the last 2 days.
So I have to log in again. What
Why?
the heck?
Why?
So for a second, hold on. Ooh.
Let me talk about something.
All right, go ahead.
So from CAR, California Association of Realtors, existing single-family home sales totaled 277,030 in March on a seasonally adjusted annualized rate, down 2.3% from 283,540.
I'm sorry, what did you say this was?
Existing home sales
For
California.
Oh, okay.
Down 2.3% from 283,540 in February, and up 4.9% from 264.2 in March of 2024. How about that?
I don't know. It was hard to follow.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like when you talk about some of the numbers.
I know.
I'm sure people are looking at their screen going, "What?
What's he talking about?"
Gotta have to replay that.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, there's not much going on today.
Yeah.
But bonds are up about 6 basis points, and the 10-year sitting at 4.27, open at 4.31.
Well,
it's been going down a little bit, nothing major.
Yeah.
But I mean, for earlier this morning, bonds were higher than they are now. It's lower now, so that's good. They're pushed above their 100-day moving average, which means what they've been over the last 100 days, and they're facing resistance and all this stuff. And what happens is things go up and down in a range, right? Then they go up, hit resistance, and then if they close below the resistance, that's the new resistance, right? And it keeps doing that and it adjusts down. Nothing goes up in a straight line, nothing goes down in a straight line. It does this kind of like our sinus rhythm of your heart, which my wife hates when I use that.
She does.
Yes. So I'm going to do it many times. Sinus rhythm.
So,
I mean, if you look at overall from the GDP that's happening with inflation and everything else, all that stuff is slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
And the there's a bunch of next week. It's huge data that can move the market. They're going to look at like first quarter GDP will be released on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And the market expects a 0.4% growth already weak. That's weak. I mean, but the Atlanta Fed is saying that there might be a negative 4%, which is, I mean, negative 0.4. So what's that? 0.4%
Right.
contraction, which means there's recession concerns coming, which I'm already seeing these recession concerns and what we're seeing. The Fed's also next week's PCE is coming out on Wednesday. Normally it comes out on a Friday, but because it's a short week, of April, right? We're going to be in May.
Because Wednesday's the last day.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Usually that's what happens. PCE's coming out. They're expecting headline PCE to expect to be 2.2%, right? On average, and the core PCE to be 2.5 year over year. This is almost in line with the 2% the Fed's target. So this is for March before the recent tariff impact. So, but it still shows inflation close to the results. We won't know anything that's going to happen until after all these tariff things are over.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff, like we saw an increase in buying in the month of March because the tariff stuff was going in February. So there was a big push. Remember we talked about that yesterday, how there was so much increase in one thing, but when you took all that out, that aircraft stuff and it was negative.
Right.
Also next week we got JOLTS, ADP employment,
that's
BLS. No, well, I guess it is. Yeah. And then the Bureau of Line Statistics jobs
labor
reports coming out next week. The market expects 130,000 jobs created and employment to stay at 4.2%. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if all the layoffs has really happened. Companies are not really ready to say what's going to happen going forward because they don't know because what's going on right now. This has never been here before where a president he doesn't care about getting reelected and he's just doing what's best for the country. That's how I'm looking at it.
What he ran on.
Yeah. So this is how it's coming out next week. Tuesday, Case Shiller.
Okay.
FHFA. That's all about housing. That's all about housing. What's going on?
Right.
JOLTS, the job report. Wednesday, mortgage application. First quarter GDP. PCE, pending home sales. This is huge next week. We're going to be talking for hours each day. Thursday,
15 minutes at a time.
Yeah. Thursday, initial jobless claims, and Friday, BLS jobs report.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff next week. So Housing Wire was talking about DC housing market.
Okay.
And they're starting to feel pressure with the political instability, rising layoffs, and tariff concerns.
What kind of
listings are up? Buyer traffic is down. And of course, affordability is always worsening across the coordinate. I mean, it's just affordability anywhere because of where the rates are is horrible. There's a new Realtor.com report card that really focuses on the affordability struggles in South Carolina, Texas, and Iowa.
Okay, so why are those not
because that's where everybody was going to originally.
They all migrated over there.
About prices are up.
Yep.
Rates are up. Jobs aren't up.
And we have people who are coming back, right?
Yeah, but that's not what. So incomes are not keeping pace with the rising prices and mortgage rates. That's what we're talking about. Affordability has to do with how much I make, where the rates are, and what is the price of the house.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because I mean, when in 2020, 2021, and that period of time, affordability was amazing because rates were so low.
Got it.
It wasn't that people were making more money. It's just everything's about interest rate.
Well, and when the affordability of 2.5% as opposed to 6.5 or 6 3/4, quite a bit of difference.
Yeah,
especially when prices are still moving upward in California. Speaking of which, March's statewide median home price was $884,350. That's up 6.7% from February and up 3.5% from March of 2024. So prices are still moving upward in California, most areas of California.
I'd like to see what the average is in the normal areas of California, because the problem with some of those numbers,
not the abnormal, but the normal.
Well, what I'm getting at is some, price. There's been higher price home selling because those people have money. The lower stuff, 400, 500,000, that's 600,000 here where you're at, isn't really flying off the shelves right now.
Yeah, I did a market analysis just the other week in the northwest part of town, kind of an older area of town, and still kind of holding firm, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home, 1,400 square feet holding firm around 465 to 475.
I didn't say they're dropping.
No, I
just
know
said
that.
They're not.
I
They're just
know you
sitting
did.
maybe a little bit
And
longer.
I'm just giving some feedback saying they seem to be, I think they'll actually sell for a little bit more because the demand seems so high. I've got agents in the office during our sales meeting that wants and needs discussion. Well, I have a buyer and this is what they need. And it's, 3-4 bedroom in below 5.
Yeah, and that's hard to find.
It is.
In an area you want to live in. All right, so I got another economic insights.
Okay.
What are chips and soda saying about the economy? Pepsi just lowered forward guidance, citing weaker demand.
Really?
Hold on. This
Okay.
matters because Pepsi owns Frito-Lay,
Right.
maker of soda and snack staples. When sales drop for lower cost indulgent items, it's often a signal of economic slowdown. Combine that with weaker tourism, airline recession indicators, and flat GDP growth. Got it out finally. This trend is
Gross
really
domestic
showing
product.
that the recession narrative is there.
Yeah.
So when people can't afford
Lay's
chips to make them feel better and candy,
maybe there's just a trend going towards healthy, right? No,
that would be great, but
it's not.
that was just in Modesto.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. That was all Frito-Lay's plant is here, so
yeah,
right.
It employs a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So we have to get through this. We're like,
we will.
Remember, we were first talking May will be it, right?
Yeah.
Well, now May's next week. I don't know if May's going to be it.
Maybe the middle of May.
Well, again, I mean, they're talking to how many countries we came up with the other day?
You said 100 something.
It was more than it was a lot. 195.
195.
Well, 2 of them were not countries.
They were
193.
They were onlookers.
Yeah. No, they were
and there's talks and consideration happening with 99 of those right now.
Right. But again, it takes time.
Yeah, it does. We knew there'd be a blip in the grand scheme of things.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this yesterday, that overall existing home sales actually dropped nationwide. So
yeah, they did.
Yeah, because and that's existing home sales is houses that are already been owned by somebody and lived in, and they were selling it. And again, it has to do with people are just like going, okay, when is this rate going to give up?
Yeah.
When is this going to happen?
Well, and didn't we say that across the nation, 44,000 transactions failed for one reason or another?
Yeah, I know, but that's the real question is where?
Right.
How many failed here in our area? In Stanislaus County?
Yeah. It's a very small percentage. It's almost like 0.1%.
Well, I'd like to know that number.
Okay, well, I'll try to research that.
Because that's 2, right?
Yeah. Yeah, about 2.
No, because we only closed 200, and how many we closed in Stanislaus County? 283. So 10% would be 28.
I think we're at 233 a month, aren't we?
That was 238.
Oh, 238. There it is. So, yeah.
I had my numbers transcribed. I haven't had enough
well,
coffee yet.
You just look like number guy.
That would be bad. Your payment is $1,300.
I mean,
$3,120.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I like the first one better.
I don't know. I can never get anybody to say they want to move forward.
That's not true. You do all the time.
No, but if you were a dyslexic person and you're giving payments, you give them the low first, and then they're like, "Oh man."
I still think back my sweet mom. I was in my 30s, and she says, "Son, you were dyslexic when you were younger, but you grew out of it." Mom, that's not something you grow out of.
No, you just learn how to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm not dyslexic.
And like most people now, just have the PDFs read to them.
Yeah, and I'm no longer anorexic.
I'm glad
bulimic.
I'm glad you got over that part. All right. So like we said, we have a lot of economic news next week. It's going to be a major market move next week. So we could see some, better rates next week. I don't know how drastically better, but we could see some better rates next week.
Hey, and 2 things coming up locally. Tomorrow we've got Love Modesto. So we're going to be downtown. I'll be there at 3 a.m. in the morning helping set it up, and then we'll be doing the kickoff, and then everybody will go to their projects. There's still projects that need volunteers. You go to lovemodesto.com. You can pull up the projects and sign up. But then one of well, something that's very near and dear to your heart, and something that I love, the fact that it was so successful last year, is your Operation Firewalk, which
Yeah,
will be
that's
happening
5/3.
on May 3rd.
Yeah, the following
Um,
weekend, not tomorrow, but the
the
following
following
weekend.
weekend. So it's going to be a busy 2 weeks in the Valley.
Thanks for reminding me. I got to get back to them about when we're going to set up.
Okay. So I've got a district meeting in the morning, but it should be available around 2. And I'll bring.
It's 2 to 6. Well, they're asking 2 to 6 to set up. Well, no, it's because we start at 4.
Yeah.
I mean, when doors open at 4, so we're going to.
As soon as I leave there, I'll bring the amplification equipment.
Are they okay?
Yeah.
Well, actually, we should get it. I should take it on Thursday so that I can make sure it works by Saturday instead of waiting until Saturday and finding out it's not charged or this
I was
or
just
needs
make
battery.
sure batteries are there.
I know, but we haven't turned it on in a year.
It'll work.
Could have a mouse in it.
It's solid state, man.
Could have a mouse in it.
Could have a mouse or rats.
And then, did we ever get a new? I guess we don't talk about this on air, but did we ever get a new projector?
We got a projector that really doesn't work. So we'll use the projector we have, because that one's easy.
What do you mean it doesn't work?
It was having an interface problem with the laptop that we have, and I could not get video to feed over. Although I did buy a new HDMI cord, so maybe it will work.
Do you have it? Where is it?
It's in the locker.
Oh,
we'll bring it all out Thursday.
Okay.
Anyway, folks, I'm so glad you listened to our Rotary stuff.
All right, make a great day. Have fun. Get out there tomorrow. Love Modesto. My wife told me I have a project to take care of on Saturday, but it's going to be in Cold Springs.
It's going to be at the cabin. So, okay. All right. Well, hopefully that project will be short-lived and you'll be able to relax a little bit.
I'm going to, because it's going to be 30 degrees.
So, yeah.
Everybody make it a great day. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Peace out, brothers and sisters.
Actually, don't forget our radio show on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about some stuff.
Yes, we will. All right. Make it a great day. Bye.